we got a little bit of a comparison video here today. I'm not going to say who this was. This is another company's stage 1 11 millimeter oil pump. It's 11 mil oil pump. Looks pretty simple, right? So first thing, I go to spin this and it is very hard to turn. You can also hear metal and metal in there, which means there's not a lot of grease in there, which is a big no-go, because you're probably going to put this on a new motor that's completely dry. So I'm not sure what they did there. I don't see any lube in the plunger itself, the regulator. There's no porting done. Yeah, I don't really see much that's done to this pump. So we're going to show you what we do to our stage 1 pump that costs less than this one, and you get more for your money. Say that it does come with this. It comes with the front main seal. It comes with the little O-ring, and it comes with some cheap hardware. Our pump, however, comes with nice grade 12 stainless steel hardware with knurled flanges so they cannot come loose. For stage 1 modifications to this that cost the same as that stage 1. Like flammable, we should wear flammable shirts. We should wear no-toed shoes instead of steel-toed shoes. And instead of safety glasses, we should just tape our eyes open, like real far.
I'm just gonna remove my eyelids.
You have to have your mouth open the whole time you're grinding. Ah! I didn't like yours.
So being that I'm a customer, right? What makes our pumps better?
This one you gotta take it with a grain of salt because this is a used pump. However, we always order brand new OEM pumps. We'll take it apart. We will blueprint it. We will make sure that the clearance between the rotor and the housing is proper. We'll make sure that the clearance between the two rotors at the top of the cog is proper. We also port it. So we port the relief. We port all these radiuses in here. We take these plugs out. We radius all these sharp edges so there's no cavitation in the pump. And then when we put it back together, we fill it with assembly grease instead of oil. We do the grease so it can't run out. It doesn't make a big mess when you're going to install it. Also, this thing will have lots of suction when you go to start up a brand new motor because the whole inside of your brand new engine's dry. So,
Question for you. How much grease or oil is in a brand new Subaru oil pump?
0. It is bone dry. Yeah. We've taken them apart and they've already been scratched up because they're so dry.
Yeah.
So kind of like that pump we showed you in there, how it's just like knocking around. It's because there's not enough grease in it. And metal doesn't seal against metal very well. So if there's grease in there, it will draw a good vacuum to get oil pressure when you first start your motor.
Also, what's another issue we have with these?
Oh,
the screws backing
these back out, which they may have put Loctite on those. Don't know. We could take it apart, but we always put Loctite on it. We're gonna ultrasonic clean this, get all the yuckies out of it, and we'll inspect it to make sure it's good to be modified. Are we doing slow-mo? Is this slow-mo right now?
Yeah. Normal speed.
Into the dirty ultrasonic. So we ultrasonic clean it in Simple Green because Simple Green is much better for the environment. We just ultrasonic clean it to get any old metal or anything off of it, and then we power wash it, and then we start to port it. Gotta put the power washer on. All right, so the next thing we do is we get all the RTV off of it. Just scrape all the big pieces off. We'll leave this on the floor for the cleaning guys. Wait, that's us. Comes off, and we get to a very soft wire wheel. This thing is very soft. It's nice to aluminum. Kind of go around it, get all the big chunks off. This is actually our lucky cameraman's oil pump for his engine. will hopefully support 700. 700?
Maybe.
I think this is good enough for porting. I just like to get out of the way so I can not have a bunch of stickies. Okay. Now time to go to porting land. Portland, Oregon is what we call it. Mainly because I left my safety glasses downstairs and I'm too lazy to walk down there and get them. So the first thing I start with here, well, hold on, I think I should explain how these pumps work. So this is the suction side, this is the pressure side. As it rotates this way, it draws a vacuum here, and it draws from your pickup tube through the block and through here, pressurizes and forces it through this hole and out into the block. So a few of the spots that we see that can always use improving is this radius right here, this very sharp edge. This causes lots of cavitation. This sharp spot here we clean up this sharp edge. I actually go in here and clean all this up and make it like mirror finish. There's also a step right there that you can see, maybe a little. That little step, we try and smooth that out, but we have to be careful because it's really thin into here. We radius all that, we smooth all this out. These sharp 90s here, we radius all those, we radius this whole thing, because all sharp edges can cause cavitation. And for those of you that don't know what cavitation is, it's when air is introduced into a fluid and it mixes and foams. Air is compressible, fluid is not, so if you keep the air out of the fluid, your oil is not going to collapse at the bearings. So following it around here, we like to radius all of this in here. We clean all this casting flash up that's inside of that. And then as the oil travels through here, we port down in here. We widen this out a little bit. We make it nice and smooth and even. We radius this 90 right here. So as the oil turns this corner, it doesn't have this sharp edge. We radius that. And that's about it on our stage one. Did all the porting on all the spots that I explained. We ultrasonic cleaned this thing really well, then power washed it and blew it out with compressed air. We polished all the components like the regulator, since this is a used pump going in Alex's engine. We verify all the clearances, make sure everything's good, polish up all the used parts, make sure there's none of any scoring in the housing or the rotors. Everything's good to go, everything's ultrasonic cleaned. So the main thing that is different between our pumps and our competitors' pumps is our pumps come packed with driven assembly grease, which helps you prime your oil system really fast in comparison to a pump that's pretty much dry. We do Loctite all the rotor bolts. Now, of course, we got this all disassembled, but if you order a new pump from us or you send your used pump to us to have us rebuild it, it will come back to you fully assembled. We just have it disassembled now so you can see what it looks like on the inside. So you can see that's all nice and smooth in there. All those sharp edges are gone. This is nice and radiused, which is hard to see in here, but that's all radiused. Stage one for stage one.
And then you look in there, and then you look in there. See?
Yep.
Cool.
So same price, more bang for your buck. Now, of course, like I said, this used pump, we usually do new pumps, but this is going on Alex's engine, so it is a used pump. We verified that it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. We just did all of our stage one mods to it. Yeah, and it does come with a front main seal, comes with the O-ring that goes there. Yeah.
Cool.
So this is a rod vise, obviously, but we found that it works really well for holding this while I assemble it.
Well, some people don't know that, so you can't say obviously.
Ah, well, yeah, I guess you can have clean hands.
Just get her skin salt and pepper up there.
All of our pumps come with complementary DNA. Yeah, so oil pumps are made to move liquid. They're not made to move air. So if you make it to where everything seals against one another really well, you tend to get a better experience while priming your oil system on your new motor, or just, you know, upgrading your pump. So we like to put some assembly grease in this. This grease is real thick now, but as soon as you start it and the oil starts to flow here, it rinses right off. It's the same stuff we use in all of our short blocks. That seems weird, but I promise you it works well. So this rotor cover just sits on top of this. There's no sealant, there's no O-ring, there's no anything, which is fine because they're two fairly perfectly machined pieces of metal. But what I do is I put a little bit of grease on this outer, on the outside, so it seals really well. Because remember I said that these pumps don't pump air, they pump liquid. So this is always a fun little adventure. And then you get to rotate it 15 times, figure out which way it goes. Yeah, there you go. It's
And
just like
then
that.
it fits just like that.
Nah, I always just use Sharpie. And I mark the bolts just in case we ever do have a failure. We can take it apart, see if anything moved, see if anything was taken apart, and we can learn. Everybody makes mistakes. I've been doing these pumps for probably 11 years now, and we've messed up a lot of pumps before we got them right. Gotta have a small enough pinky to do this. Because this is a machined bore in here that this regulator rides in, and if your carbide gets in there, it'll catch. That's why I always like to move this by hand to make sure it doesn't catch. Because if your regulator doesn't move, you're gonna have big problems. So we make sure they move. Shim. A little bit of good up here. So I don't like any metal touching metal. Now I gotta go get the washer. Sorry, put the video back again. This is always a fun little adventure. What you laughing for? I'm over here shaking to death. A lot. I work on Subarus, bro. A lot. Oh, and you better bet you're a little behind. I'm going to hit that with an impact too. Like all the guys, all the old heads, they're gonna be like, you ain't gonna. You're over tightening it. You're gonna get triggered on the internet. You ain't supposed to do it that way. I zoomed in on my nostril hairs. It's all about the feel again.
What's the torque spec on this?
Yes.
Okay.
It's pumping. It's pumping. I didn't hear any metal. Did you hear any metal?
No.
Let's see if we can hear any metal.
Right, now spin it. Worth the price?
No.